Hey everybody, and welcome back to Lindsey's Little Library. So we're here today with our November wrap up where I tell you all of the great books that I read in November, which they were all, like looking at my list, I read 7 books, 1 3-star, 4 4-stars, and a couple 5-stars. Like, it was a really good month. So we had nonfiction November as well as Historathon happening during the entire month of November. So that really dictated what I picked up this month. So lots of historical fictions, 1 nonfiction, and a whole lot of goodness. But it just confirms with me how much I do love my historical fiction books and really just get into them. But I also read them a little slower, which is why 7 books and not 10 like I have been doing, which is just an amazing number. Like I can't, it's a lot. It's a lot. So first one I want to talk about is my nonfiction read. I read Tailspin by John Armbruster, which I think I've talked about this a couple of times. This is such a phenomenal book, and I feel like it just does not have the following it really deserves. So this book follows John as he is interviewing a World War II veteran who survived I want to say it was like a 4-mile fall out of the sky during the war. So he was on like a fighter plane or a bomber, I should say. He's the one that would be like the gunner in the tail portion of the plane. And he is a Wisconsin native. This is all John, the author, is from Wisconsin, so that's even more my jam. But it not only follows the story of our World War II veteran, which I can't think of his name right now. But also John included some of his own story in this, which I think added so much to it. He gave us the why behind why he wanted to share this story with everybody. It is nonfiction, written like fiction. It is a fully immersive story that you're going to completely enjoy and love. I listened to it, very well done. So 4 stars, I loved it. Link below, go get this book right now. That's all I have to say. Then with Historathon and also wanting to read more of my book of the month books, I picked up The First Ladies. I think this was to fulfill my 3-word title prompt. This is by Marie Benedict and Victoria Christopher Murray. This follows Eleanor Roosevelt as she is living in the White House as the First Lady, as well as, what's her name? Mary McLeod Bethune. I always want to say Mary Bethune McLeod, and I always get it wrong. But Mary McLeod Bethune. Okay, so she is quite the leader so she is quite the activist, and as well as being an educator, and has this reputation she gets things done. So Mary and Eleanor team up. They become pretty fast friends. They team up to address, a number of things: poverty within the African American community, women's rights, women being able to have a face and a say in things, having a more diverse representation within the political sphere. There's a lot. It's a lot of behind the scenes political discussions and strategies and that sort of thing, as well as this kind of unlikely friendship developing. So I do enjoy that behind the scenes political type of thing. Maybe not for everybody. I gave it 4 stars. There are parts where it gets a little slow. But man, I mean, them just sitting together at a same table and having brunch together was like not heard of at times. And they were not afraid to show their friendship to the world. So really enjoyed it. But again, I like that political side of things. If it's not for you, maybe not the book for you. So, but I still loved it. Then we picked up The First Year. This is a middle grade historical fiction by Catherine Marsh. This has dual timelines and we have multiple perspectives. So we have present day Matthew. Actually, 2020 Matthew. He's 13. He's stuck at home because of COVID. He can't really do too much because his grandmother is staying with them just to kind of help protect her during this time. He's got school from home. He's just having a bit of a rough time. And he decides he starts to really befriend his grandmother and discovers a clue that gives him some insights into a bit of her hidden past. And so she kind of starts learning about where she grew up, and it really centers around the famine that was in Ukraine in the 1930s. Yeah, like right before World War II. This book brought a couple tears to my eyes. This was fantastic. Absolutely loved it. 4 stars. Like, I've already given this idea to a couple of teachers. Like, pick up this book. Then my reading kind of slowed down a little bit because I picked up A Memory of Violets by Hazel Gaynor. Now, I enjoyed the story. It just got a little long, and there were parts where I just didn't really want to pick it up. So, we got 3 stars for me. Still a decent story. So we have 1876 and 1912. 1876, we have Flora and Rosie Flynn. They are part of these flower markets. They're orphaned Irish sisters who make money selling flowers during the day. And at one point, Rosie ends up going missing, and Flora just is beside herself trying to figure out what happened to Rosie. We have 1912, we have Tilly Harper. She is 21 years old, and she becomes an assistant house mother for one of these homes called the Training Homes for Watercress and Flower Girls. So this home was basically created to get these girls like Flora and Rosie off the street and give them basically a place to stay. And she discovers what happened to Rosie, and she discovers that Rosie went missing, and she kind of takes it upon herself to want to figure out what happened. Again, great story. This filled my prompt of based on a true story. I think this one was recommended by one of my favorites, so Amanda recommended this. So anyways, good story. It got a little long, and it just didn't quite keep me as engaged as I was hoping it would be. So definitely more of a slower start. Once I got into it, I didn't want to put it down, but it just took me a little bit. So 3 stars. Then I also listened to The Diamond Die by Kate Quinn, which my grandma already has taken that book from me because as soon as she heard the words Soviet woman sniper, she was like, I need to read that book. So she already has it in her possession. I listened to this. This is by Kate Quinn. This is by a favorite author of mine. Diamond Die follows Mila as she finds an opportunity for her to use her skill set, which she's a really great marksman. And she joins the Soviet Union Army at the time and becomes a sniper. And she, and this is based on a true story, had the most kills of any woman Soviet sniper ever. So we kind of have a bit of a dual timeline thing going on here. We are learning about how she found herself being within this sniper position, as well as like her currently, she's in the United States on a bit of a PR tour, maybe. Ends up meeting Eleanor Roosevelt, which was crazy that I just read about Eleanor Roosevelt and now she's back in my life. It was like, well, that's weird. And she's not one to be in the limelight, but she sees what the benefit is about being in the limelight. And she's given so many crazy hurdles to overcome. It was a fantastic read. That one got me 5 stars, or got 5 stars for me. I can't talk enough about that one. I'm thinking that's going to the top of my favorites of Kate Quinn list. So those are some big words. Anyways, then we read the group read, which was Crow Mary by Kathleen Grissom. I gave this one 5 stars as well. This is also based on a true story about the woman named Crow Mary. And basically her life growing up as a Native American and then being married to a white fur trader, ending up having to travel to Canada, being caught in this like moral dilemma of how do I help and secure my own traditions and where I came from, yet live in this society that is forcing me to abandon some of them. She ends up saving a number of Indian women who were kidnapped at one point. That's kind of the main premise around this, but also just her life and how she figured out how to live kind of in both worlds and respect both worlds and still be a success to her family, to herself, amongst so much trial and tribulation. So love this book. This was so fantastic. So good. That's one I'll talk about a lot too. And then the last one I picked up in November was The Light in Hidden Places by Sharon Cameron. Sharon Cameron also wrote Bluebird that I read earlier this year. This one I ended up on my radar because I did a video on like my highest rated Goodreads books, and this was one of the highest rated ones. It is a YA book, so I was kind of a little skeptical going into it. Still gave it 4 stars, still loved it. We are 1940s Poland. We have our main character who is, what is your name? Oh yeah, okay, I remember. Stephania. So she grew up Catholic, and she lived on a farm with her parents and her number of siblings, and she ended up kind of moving into the city and befriending a Jewish family. And while Poland is invaded by Germany and ghettos appear and anti-Semitism comes to light, and concentration camps and all of the stuff that happened, she is basically on this mission to be like, not my friends, and will do anything and everything she possibly can to save their lives. So parts I struggled with, but I had to remind myself, like, this is again based on a true story. And Sharon Cameron did such a fantastic job with her author's notes, like really bringing to light Stephania and then her sister, who she also fell under her care, and the story of really what happened. And so I had to remind myself that yes, this she really did all these things. And then like talk about bravery and perseverance, and oh my gosh, it's very inspirational. It was fantastic. So love this. Sharon Cameron, you are quickly becoming one of my faves because you just know how to tell a really good story. I was just looking to see if, oh yeah, she does have a bunch of other backlist books. I'm gonna have to check them out. Absolutely. So that was what I ended on. Again, had a really fabulous month of reading so much historical fiction, and I loved it. And I feel like I got a number of different viewpoints and points in history that I typically tend to gravitate towards my World War II, but we're expanding. We're trying to expand. Anyways, I would call it a successful historathon, and I did get one nonfiction November read in there as well, which again was kind of tied to history, which it worked for me. As far as December goes, my main goals are to hit 100 books for the year. I'm only a few books away from that goal and currently reading enough books to get me there. We just gotta find time in this craziness to get them done. But I've already finished one and blew me away. Had that thing done in like 3 days. You'll have to wait a little bit to see what one it is for my December wrap up, but it's also one of my 5-star predictions if you want to cheat. Otherwise, I'm just, like I said, I'm just picking up what I'm feeling like right now just to get me to that goal is the main push for the end of the year. And then we'll reevaluate what January has for us. Leave a comment below of any good books that you picked up in November. Did you participate in Historathon? How did it go for you? If you did, thank you very, very much. Otherwise, like and subscribe, and we will see you next time. Bye.